Good morning and welcome to all for this our new session of museums and archival science. मैं यहाँ पर आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूँ और सबसे पहले अभी दशहरा बीत गया इसलिए दशहरे की शुभकामनाएं और आने वाली दिवाली की भी हम सबको शुभकामनाएं देते हैं और आज के अपने सेशन की हम यहाँ शुरुआत करेंगे. I hope you all can see this screen, this presentation, and now we'll start. Our today's session is about history and development of museums and archives. First of all, just I want to ask if anyone can say about this, what you can see in front of you. आपको सामने ये जो दिखाई दे रहा है ये क्या है कोई बता सकता है? What is this in front of you on your screen? Anyone? क्या कोई बता सकता है कि ये क्या है आप सामने जो देख रहे हैं ये क्या है कोई बता सकता है? मेरी आवाज आप सभी को सुनाई दे रही है? कैन यू हियर मी? क्या आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
ओके, थैंक यू, थैंक यू. ये क्या है कोई गेस कर सकता है? आपके सामने जो दिखाई दे रहा है ये क्या है? व्हाट इज दिस इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू?
They are
Yes.
the catalogs of museums, different museums, or
Actually, these are the photographs of different books, but it's a part of digital exhibition, and later on it will be converted into the virtual museum. So it's a part of that things. So thank you, thanks a lot. And here now we'll start. The history of museums is a long one. Actually, the existence of this Homo sapiens is linked with art, and art is a way of linking people with other people. In addition, the desire to create and share what is created is closely affiliated with the desire to collect. The creator, the collector, the viewer, and the artwork are all parts of one equation, and the museum is the blackboard on which it is written. So please be careful about these things. Museums today are diverse, but we can all roughly understand what makes a museum: exhibiting, collecting, preserving, and researching humanity's cultural heritage. With this in mind, we are ready to explore the history of museums. Our narration will start with prehistoric cave paintings, go through historical, scientific, and art museums, reach the 21st century, end with a prediction for the future. It is possible to trace the first point in the history of museums back to the prehistoric period. Cave paintings such as in Bhimbetka involved basic elements of exhibiting art. We can say another example also, the petroglyph arts also, which is in Ratnagiri district in Chiplun or in all around the India and abroad also. So भारत और भारत के बाहर पहले तो हम ये याद रखें कि एक कला को प्रस्तुत करने के लिए हमने जो माध्यम चूज किया था वो एग्जिबिटिंग आर्ट, इट्स वर्ड यूज एज एग्जिबिटिंग आर्ट. हम अपनी कला को प्रदर्शित कर रहे थे और जहां से इसकी शुरुआत हुई ऐसा माना जाता है. इन एंसेंट टाइम्स कला कला के प्रदर्शन हेतु संग्रहालयों की शुरुआत, ऐसा उसका शुरुआत हम देखेंगे. दिस पब्लिक डिस्प्ले ऑफ आर्टिस्टिक क्रिएशन and its symbolism could have had a variety of functions. Above all, however, it could have created a sense of commons amongst the community sharing the space. ऐसी कोई जगह होनी चाहिए. अभी तो केव्स वगैरह जो थी वो प्री हिस्टोरिक पीरियड में इट्स ओके, बट व्हाट देन? दिस कॉमन विजुअल आर्ट वुड बी only be one aspect of a common culture and heritage of these early civilizations. Of course, दिस इज अ हाइपोथेटिकल सिनेरियो, क्योंकि संग्रहालयों की शुरुआत अगर हम देखते हैं तो कला दालन इसको हम कहते हैं, आर्ट गैलरीज और आर्ट एग्जीबिशंस लाइक दैट. सो दिस इज एन हाइपोथेटिकल सिनेरियो that we want to express our art, we want to exhibit our art. So earliest museums were private collections that were not of open nature and were only accessible to narrow circle of people, like the kings or the relatives of the kings or some more higher officials. They displayed rare and curious natural objects and artifacts, because like the jewelries or the ornaments, or we can say the diamonds, like that, some of them worked as wonder rooms or cabinets of curiosities. This word used many times, these cabinets of curiosities. And this up to 16th 17th century this word used. Then wonder rooms, till today we can see in 20th century to 21st century too, in Maharashtra, in Nagpur, the museum, the central museum, which is called as the Ajayab Ghar or Ajab Ghar, Ajab Bangla, like that. So the wonder rooms. Oldest known museum was this Enigaldi Nance Museum, collected by Prince Enigaldi and dated from 530 BC. It was located in the state of Europe, and it held Mesopotamian antiquities. It was apparently visited enough that it had to have clay labels, or we can say the clay tablets. And in three languages, museums opened for public started opening in the Renaissance, but many important museums started opening in 18th century. But before of that, few of the museums for some specific people. Oldest public collection of art is Capitoline Museum, and it started in 1471 with a donation of sculptures by Pope VI to people of Rome. Oldest museum in United Kingdom opened in 1660 is Royal Armouries in Tower of London. Now here, city of Basel brought private collection Ambridge Cabinet in 1661 and opened it to public in 1671. From it developed this another museums. Then St. Petersburg First Museum was opened in 1770, and then private collection of Sir Hans Salon was the basis of British Museum in London, which was founded in 1753, and opened for public in 1759. Catherine the Great founded Hermitage Museum in 1764, and it is opened for public viewing since 1852. In time, some other forms of museums began to appear as they begin to accommodate different types of artifacts. Up to now, the collection is only regarding the royal collection or some of the wonderful things. But in 18th century, now this trend changed. There are now open air museums that have preserved buildings as objects, eco museums, and even up now in 21st century, virtual museums that exist only in electronic form on the internet. There are also archaeology museums that hold archaeological artifacts. Now, this is based on the different types of the artifacts. Art museums that display different forms of art, encyclopedic museums like the Smithsonian Institutes that gives many different information about local and global history museums, maritime, military, and war museums, pop-up museums. This is an interesting word. Are you know about the pop-up museums? Anyone among you? क्या कोई बता सकता है कि what is this pop-up museum? Because I want interaction, not only like a lecture. We want interaction. Can anyone say
It's
about this?
la music related.
No, not like that only. Pop-up museum. You can choose any type of the theme for some specific period, and you can organize it. If you just search in Google pop-up ice cream museum, you will get its clear idea. It was organized in 2017. So it's a wonderful theme, pop-up museums. Please search more about that. Otherwise, in our next sessions, we will take the information about that, and that are temporary and many more. So now, when we know about this history of museums, which start from this Prince Enigaldi Museum, it's around 6th century BC. We can see left side the excavation by the archaeologists and the plan of the museum or the building here on right side. And it was done by 1925 by the archaeologist Leonard Uli. And the collection which was there in that museum, here we can see the clay tablets. Center of this neighborhood is from the temple of this Shamash at Larsa, Mesopotamia. This terracotta cylinder records in 3 columns the building operations done by the archaeologists, including the restoration of the temple. So now this is in British Museum, London. Then this is the oldest public collection of art, which is in Capitolian Museum in Rome, Italy. It started when Pope Six donated ancient bronze sculptures to people of Rome and placed them on Capitolian Hill in 1471. Since then, it has grown in number of showpieces, and it consists of ancient Rome statues, inscriptions, and medieval and Renaissance art. So this is, we can say, the oldest building till today we can see there. And this is the Vatican City Museums. Actually, some scholars mention that these museums which established later on, but the collection is from the 1506. So the display, the immense collection amassed by the Catholic Church and perpetuated throughout the centuries, including several of the most renowned Roman sculptures and most important masterpieces of this Renaissance art in the world. The museum contains roughly 70,000 works, of which 20,000 are on display, and currently employs 640 people who work in 40 different administrative, scholarly, and restoration department. And till today, these museums are like we can say the curiosities, the cabinet of the curiosities. Why? Because till today it's not completely accessible for common man, and only for the Pope, or the only person Pope who can see all these things, none other else. दूसरे किसी को भी आज भी यहाँ के वेटिकन सिटी के जो म्यूजियम्स है उसकी सभी चीजों को देखने के लिए अभी तक अलाउड नहीं है. इसके बारे में कितनी तो भी किताबें, नंबर ऑफ बुक्स आर देयर रिगार्डिंग दिस कलेक्शंस. Then Amras Castle Museum in Austria, which opened in 1572, and it's a federal museum of Republic of Austria. It is administratively part of this Kunsthistorisch Museum Vienna and belongs to this KHM Museums brand. Actually, here the wonderful thing is that it's a palace, and it's called as the castle, and the rooms of the lower castle, which was constructed according to the most advanced ideas of his time. The three armories and the chamber of the art and wonders were designed and used as a museum from the beginning. So the Spanish Hall, built between 1569 and 1572, is one of the most important freestanding halls of the Renaissance. The picturesque layout of 43-meter long hall is dominated by the 27 full-length portraits of the princely rulers of the trial. Today, rather famous classical concerts take place in this hall. This palace is itself a museum. We can see here, though it is at the right side, there are the 27, this full size, or we can say the life size paintings are there. But till then, this building itself is like a museum. And here we can see the painting created by Jan Bruegel the Elder and Peter Paul Rubens, the named as Site, and it's of 1671 Pardo Museum in Madrid. This is the, we can say, first painting regarding a collection. किसी का कलेक्शन जो है, किसी के कमरे के अंदर कोई कलेक्शन है, उसका जो पेंटिंग बनाया गया है. So we can say this is one of the earliest painting of that collection. Then the Cabinet of a Collector by Franz Franken, the Younger, 1671, by Royal Collection Trust, London. The age of explorers and the opening of the New World to Europeans broadened the scope of the collections. Collectors, mainly amateurs and scholars, stored these acquisitions in the cabinets, drawers, cases, and others. As time passed, every new collection was more systematic and ordered than the previous one. These collections become known under different names throughout Europe. In English, they were most commonly called cabinets of curiosities. Now the theme changed here. The museum theme changed here. First, it's like only the art exhibitions, then the royal collection exhibitions. Now here, the cabinets of curiosities. Please note these all points, because in the early 17th century, this theme changed here. And the collections, not only by the royal personalities or by the kings or some higher officials, but by the collectors also, by the doctors or the scientists like that. Here now the new class is there, new group is there, which called as the collectors. and though they are the mainly amateurs and the scholars like that, मगर क्या कलेक्शन करना है इसके ऊपर कोई ऐसा बंधन नहीं है अभी. Those who are interested in different things, they can collect it easily. So like that, now here another we can see the Chamber of Art and Curiosities by Franz Franklin of 1636, which is in this KHM Museum, Vienna. And then there were earlier collections of objects and sites of display, including the public squares of ancient Rome, and traditional Japanese shrines were small paintings. Here we can see were hung to draw good favor. सिर्फ कलेक्शन करके किसी टेबल पर नहीं रखा है, बट उसको प्रॉपर रूप से डिस्प्ले किया गया है. सो दिस इज द फ्रंट पीसेस डिपिक्टिंग Oleven's Cabinet of Curiosities from Museum Armenium. This is actually a collection from Smithsonian Libraries of 1655. Oleven was a Danish physician and natural historian. Engravings of his collection were published in a volume after his death. So this is first time this is proper display, and we can see that proper display in this photograph. And then Owen was born, actually this is information about him. When he was visited different places in Europe, he was collected different types of artifacts, not only his own we can see this his own business artifacts, but man-made artifacts and antiquities, including Roman jewelry, tools, and scientific instruments too. Here then the museum of this KHM Rome, this Criterium, Italy, was opened around 1660 by the Jesuit in the Roman college, exhibiting several of these automata and spectacles such as his famous sunflower clock. Afterwards this museum which अभी जो हम ये बिल्डिंग देख रहे हैं वो डोनेट किया गया, और some scholars mention that this museum completely closed, but it's not true. The collection was handed over to different places. Then this is the Rumfes built a botanical museum in Indonesia in 1662. We can say this is the first museum in this kind, making it the oldest recorded museum in Indonesia. Nothing remains of it except books written by himself, which are now in the library of the National Museum. Its successor was the Batavia Society of Art and Science, established in 24th April 1778. It built a museum and a library, played an important role in research, and collected much material on the natural history and culture of Indonesia. Here, I want to mention one thing. In the history of museums, in the books regarding the history of museums, it's mentioned that in the Babylonian culture, there was a queen who had such passion about the gardens. इस तरह के अलग अलग पशु और प्राणियों का संग्रह करने की इच्छा जो है वो अलग अलग इसमें दिखाई गई है. बैबिलियन कल्चर में भी, चाइनीज कल्चर में भी इस तरह के बारे में बताया गया है. बट ऑन रिकॉर्ड द प्रॉपर इंफॉर्मेशन about this museum here, the Botanical Museum of Indonesia. Then this Amerbag Cabinet, Switzerland, originally a private collection, was brought by the University and City of Basel in 1661, and it was opened to the public in 1671, like that. Then in 1684, an abbot Jean, this Baptist, donated his own collection to these Benedictine monks of Saint Vincent, under the condition that they make a museum out of it, that would be open to general public 2 days in a week. That collection grew and become Musée des Beaux Arts. It's called as the first museum in France. Actually, see here, till today and up to 1684, the condition is there. It will be open for the general public for 2 days in a week. What is the meaning of this? It means that till this time, the museums are not completely open for all. General public के लिए पूरी तरह से संग्रहालय खुले नहीं थे. They are the collections, they are the exhibitions, but in terms of today's museology or the museum, आज जो हम म्यूजियम की डेफिनेशन करते हैं, उस तरह से ये पूरी तरह से पूरे समय के लिए सभी लोगों के लिए खुले नहीं थे. यहाँ पर हम उसी का, actually this was established in 1684, but later on developed, and this is in present condition. Then the Ashmolean Museum of Art and Archaeology of Oxford, England, is the world's first university museum, and Actually, it's collection by John, the Trescan, a British naturalist, had created a large collection of artifact and natural specimens. After facing financial hardships, he sold his collection to Elias Ashmole, who had already a considerable collection of his own. Finally, this Ashmole donated his collection to the University of Oxford. So, like that, usually it happened till in India also. We can see a person who collect the things, which we can call collector. वो संग्रह संग्रह तो करते हैं, बहुत कुछ संग्रह करते हैं, मगर बिकॉज ऑफ द फाइनल क्रैशेस आर सम प्रॉब्लम्स इन फैमिली टू, तो वो दूसरों को हैंड ओवर कर देते हैं या बेच देते हैं. जिसको बेच देते हैं उनके यहाँ भी कुछ अच्छी कंडीशन होती है, ऐसा नहीं. देन वी नीड टू give this our hand over this all collection to a proper museum or to a proper institution. So like that, they hand over this collection to University of Oxford in 1675. And the Ashmolean included a laboratory, and its main goals were the preservation of the collection and the promotion of natural sciences and research. Now the theme of the museum changed again here. It's not only the cabinet of curiosities or the vendor rooms only, but now they becomes the promotion, the preservation of the collection and promotion of natural sciences and research. And the Ashmolean was also the first public museum because it was publicly accessible. Visitors paid an entrance fee and entered the museum one by one, where they were shown through the collection by a keeper. See, note these points. Unlike a cabinet of curiosities, the Ashmolean laid claim to a rational form of collecting and organizing its collection. Thus, it was a real museum in modern sense, like that. So, a few important points are here. That the trend of the museums changed here. It's now become the goal of the museum: preservation of the collection and promotion of natural sciences and research. Then we need entrance fee, completely open for the public, and guided by the guides, or we can say by a keeper. Here the photograph of that Oxford Museum. And then we come to this Kunstkamera in St. Petersburg Museum. This is the first museum in Russia, established by Peter the Great and completed in 1727. This building hosts the Peter the Great Museum of Anthropology and Ethnography, with a collection almost 2 lakh items. Here we can see that beautiful building, and the same like that, we'll see another one great museum there. Here, one interesting thing is that in this museum, a section which is completely regarding the woodwork, and particularly it's from India. And here we can see our this नृत्य डांस के लिए जो कॉस्ट्यूम्स हम यूज करते हैं उसको यहाँ पर दिखाया गया है. कुचिपुड़ी नृत्य वगैरह जो है उसके बारे में यहाँ पर दिखाया गया है. It's the Museum of Petersburg and the Kunstkamera Museum, and here this collection. But just one question for me, how it is possible ये इतना बड़ा वुडवर्क और ये सभी यहाँ पर जो रखा गया है, ये किस तरह से कलेक्शन किया गया है, इसके बारे में अध्ययन करना आवश्यक है. The Museum of the American Philosophical Society in Philadelphia, which dates to 1743, making it the oldest museum in United States. In its museum, visitors will see exhibitions drawn from the society's renowned collections that trace American history and science from the founding fathers to the digital age. Now here another interesting thing. See, up to now, the personal collections, the collections by 2 or 3 peoples, the collection by the royal families. But here, first time we can see the collection by the society. See here, by the society, a group of peoples come together and form a society, and they collect the objects and present towards the in front of the society. So, but here we can see not only the American history, but the science, and from the founding fathers to the digital age. Here one interesting thing, the gallery for the founders. So, जो संग्रहालय बनाते founders gallery. If you visit the Salajeng Museum, you can see also there the founders gallery. Salajeng gallery is there. So, like that, here we can see also this founders founding fathers gallery to the digital age gallery also. It's today's we can see the modernization of the museum. Now here one of the most famous London's British Museum, which was based on the collections of the physician and scientist Sir Hans Helm. It's actually a personal collection, but afterwards it becomes a national collection and an international collection. It was founded in 1753 and opened for public in 1759. European capitals and monarchs were now competing in a race to establish their museums. Now here quote this sentence: European capitals and monarchs were now competing in a race to establish their museums. We can say अलग अलग जो किंगडम्स थे, जो अलग अलग जो हम राजेशाही जिसको कहेंगे, अलग अलग किंगडम्स और अलग अलग राष्ट्र जो है, वो राष्ट्र स्पेशली जो वसाहतवाद जिनके पास था, तो ऐसे राष्ट्र जो थे वो अभी म्यूजियम्स बनाने की एक क्या कहते हैं होड़ निर्माण हुई थी, ऐसा यहाँ पर अभी यहाँ से शुरुआत हम उसकी देखेंगे. But here another important thing for the British Museum, this is a museum. जैसे मैंने कहा, it's actually a personal collection, then it becomes a national importance collection, then an international important. But क्राउड फंडिंग के द्वारा और पब्लिक के द्वारा इन्होंने इतना पैसा कलेक्ट किया. Nowadays it's completely free. This museum is completely free. But अभी जो लास्ट 50 इयर्स में इन्होंने जो काम किया है, नॉट ओनली द फिजिकल, अभी आप जहां पर एक्चुअली अगर आप म्यूजियम को विजिट करते हैं तब भी ये फ्री है, वर्चुअल म्यूजियम में भी अगर आप देखेंगे तब भी ये फ्री है. एंड अनदर इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, इफ यू विजिट दिस म्यूजियम यू कैन गेट नंबर ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन बुकलेट्स, ब्राउचर्स एंड द बुक्स इन फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट. सो ये भी एक इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग है. इसका कारण जो कहा कि फ्यूचर में आगे चल करके इन्होंने क्राउड फंडिंग और इतने डोनेशंस इनको प्राप्त हुए कि अभी ये सब कुछ पॉसिबल है इनके लिए. दो इट्स एन रियली वंडरफुल एंड अ बिगेस्ट म्यूजियम. देन Hermitage Museum is founded by Catherine the Great in 1764, and since 1852 it is open for public, and today it consists of 6 buildings including the Winter Palace. It holds over 3 million items from Egyptian antiquities to modern art. This is one of the building. Actually इसके पहले हमने देखा कि वहां के किंग जो थे, राजा जो थे, उन्होंने स्थापित किया हुआ संग्रहालय हमने देखा. एंड दिस इज अनदर एक्सलेंट म्यूजियम, and it's another world's largest museum founded by Catherine the Great in 1764, Hermitage Museum. And then Uffizi Gallery in Florence, Italy. This is called as one of the best galleries. Is one of the oldest art galleries in the world. It was first opened for visitors in 16th century, but only on demand. In 1765, it was opened for public permanently. So here is the most important thing. Then we can see here inside of the museum. Now these museums which becomes, or we can see the starting of the art gallery, but this journey is not only stop up to the exhibition. Here these art galleries becomes like the sale shops, जहां पर हम कहते हैं ना कि कुछ चीजों को अगर बेचना है, the antiquities or the objects exhibited for the sale. So Uffizi Gallery is the first example of that. यहाँ पर एग्जीबिशन प्रॉपर इस तरह से किया जाता था कि जहां से अगर किसी को चाहिए तो जो सेल के लिए रखे हुए जो एंटिक्विटीज ऑब्जेक्ट्स है उसको सेल कर सकते थे. सो दिस ट्रेंड सेटर हम जिसको कहेंगे, इट्स द ट्रेंड इट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम दिस Uffizi Gallery. The Charleston Museum was established in 1773, thereby making it the first museum in southern United States. It did not open to the public until 1824. See, here around 50 years. The Charleston Museum is a museum located in Warburg near Hood in Charleston, Southern Carolina. It is one of the oldest museum in the United States. Its highly regarded collection includes historic artifacts, natural history, decorative arts, and 2 historic Charleston houses. Here is the addition point. 2 historic Charleston houses. अभी तक तो पैलेस में म्यूजियम बनाए जा रहे थे, बट पैलेस के साथ साथ जो व्यक्ति कलेक्शन करने वाला होता था उसका अपना घर या उसने जिसको डिसाइड किया है, ऐसे हिस्टोरिक हाउस बिल्डिंग्स को भी जो है इसमें इंक्लूड किया गया है. इन 1920 when museum hired Laura Bragg as its director, she became the first woman to direct a publicly funded art museum in America. So please note here, in 1920, this Laura Bragg, who becomes the first first woman become a director of a museum. Before just maybe in last 1 year or before some months, there was a news regarding this Paris Louvre Museum, Louvre, Louvre Museum Paris, director there. So the news was there in last of 240 years or last 236 years, the first director is there just now. But here we can see around 100 years before this, she becomes the first woman to director for this museum. And then the Museum of History of Riga and Navigation is the oldest in Latvia and the whole of the Baltics, and one of the oldest in Europe. It was founded and opened to public in 1773 by the Riga Town Council. Now, another important thing, please note here, by the Riga Town Council. So it means that now the museum administration comes towards from the royal or from the societies towards the town council, Riga Town Council as himself museum. The rich and diverse collections of the museum originated from an art and natural sciences collection of Nicholas Riga Doctor. Today, the Museum of History of Riga and Navigation collections number more than 5 lakh items, systemized in about 80 collections. In 1773, Riga Town Council Museum. So note this point again here. Why I want to say these all things? Because in India, if we see the museums which was directed by the society or the museums established by the society, the tradition which started in around 18th century, and the town council museums are the museums operated by these local authorities, or we can say the government authorities, local government authorities. Till today in India, there are no such type of more museums. Only few of the cities we can see in Maharashtra, Ahmednagar Museum by the collector office, or like that here in Mumbai. Actually मुंबई में कई सारे म्यूजियम्स है, मगर मुंबई का अपना जो भी मुंबई म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन के द्वारा चलाया जाता है, ऐसा कोई म्यूजियम हम नहीं देखते. Otherwise, in big cities today, Nagpur also, or in Pune also, we can't see such type of the museums. I request to all the participants, please off your audio. Here the name, sorry. Sharda Sheshadri ji, please mute yourself. Okay, here one more interesting thing in this Museum of History of Riga and Navigation. For me, this is an important thing, because when I was studied about this, you can see this upper side part of this display. Actually, as per the guidelines of International Council of Museums, we can use only the space up to 17 feet height. But here, this upper side portion, it's around 7 feet to 13 feet like that. But they used this portion with a big size of map and the bold, the words in bold typed or print like that. So we can use such type of the spaces for in our museum too. क्योंकि बहुत बार म्यूजियम में स्पेस की कमी होती है, तो किस तरह से स्पेस को यूज किया जाए उसका प्रॉब्लम होता है. So this will become ideal for us in our museums too. Then the Taylor's Museum in Haarlem, which is the oldest Dutch museum. This Taylor's Museum is an art, natural history and science museum in Haarlem, Netherlands, established in 1778. This museum was founded as a center for contemporary art and science. This is the interesting thing, contemporary art and science. And till today, आज भी अगर आप इस संग्रहालय को विजिट करते हैं तो आपको साइंस म्यूजियम की डेवलपमेंट कैसे हुई, the development of the science museums, you can see that in this museum, in this Taylor's Museum in Haarlem. So this is an interesting thing of this museum. Then you can see here this one generator of that period. किस तरह का ये जनरेटर था तो उसका यहाँ पर ये दिखाया गया है. So it's an art and science museum. Then Belvedere Museum in Vienna, Austria was built at the place of summer residence for the Prince of Savoy and opened for public in 1781. Its famous art collection includes works ranging from the Middle Ages to present today, Austrian art in an international context is presented in 3 locations. So this is, we can say, the first museum which is on different locations. Then the Museo del Prado in Madrid, Spain, was founded in 1785 by Charles III of Spain, originally to house of Natural History Cabinet. Later, the building was converted into New Royal Museum of Paintings and Sculptures, opened to the public in 1819, with the aim of showing the works of art belonging to the Spanish crown. Nowadays, with the nearby Tahsin, this Born Museum and the Museo Reina Sofia, it forms the so-called Golden Triangle of Art. At the same place, there we can see 3 museums. And same thing we can see in, if you visit the New York, there is an Natural History Museum in New York, and just beside of that there is an American History Museum. Then I was visited there in 2019. So like that, here you can see this Golden Triangle of Art. And now again, this is a new trend here. See, they want to exhibit their national or the most famous, we can say the paintings which are related to the nationalism, like that too. Otherwise, the most famous artisans of their own nation, उनकी कलाकृतियों को, उनकी कला को, उनकी पेंटिंग्स को दर्शाता हुआ ये संग्रहालय है. और यही ट्रेंड बाद में सेट हम देख सकेंगे. This is the inside cafeteria of the museum. It's like as a 5-star hotel, and it's renovated in 2010, like that. But till we can say such type of no any cafeterias here in our museums, maybe because of many problems. But till then we need, because we can generate the revenues from providing this such type of the facility. Then the Charles Wilson Pele established America's first public museum in 1786 in Philadelphia's Independence Hall in 1786. But this museum, which closed by 1840, permanently closed in 1840. And this hall, or the this Philadelphia Society's one hall is there, and there is some such type of documents available in their library. And to here you can read this: amusement here with science is combined to please, improve, and cultivate the mind. So what a wonderful thing! Just I want to show, it's from that museum. So you can see here. Then by the first decades, now we'll see the development. By the first decades of the 19th century, the museum was a well-established institution. It's not only a collection, not only exhibition, but now it becomes a well-established institution. Museums at this point remain closely related to scholarly research and learning. However, they were mostly tools in a game of power between heroes monarchs. A great collection was an effective way of projecting power. So now again the new competition start here. It was also a way of declaring the cultural supremacy of a state as embedded by its monarchs. The most important event in the history of museums occurred in 18th century France. In 1793, the revolutionary government nationalized the king's property and declared the Louvre Palace a public institution under the name Museum Francis. First time it happened. It had already become an art museum of the royal art collection when King Louis of 14th moved to the Versailles. For the first time, the royal collection was available for all to see. The people of Paris entered and roamed in the first truly public museum in history. At the same time, the Louvre became the first truly national museum. This important thing, this word, national museum. The museum did not belong to any king or any member of the aristocracy. As the National Committee declared, this was the property of the people of France, a monument to the glory of the French nation and its history. Worth noting is that Louvre was open to public and free of charge, in contrast to its preceding museums, as part of the government's education program. This is also important thing. The Louvre aimed at civilizing the citizens. So with the using of the museums, the national museums, government need to start the government education programs, and civilizing the citizens. This is also a new trend. It is no coincidence that the modern museum appears at the same time with imperialism and nationalism. The National Museum had the power to convert the treasures and luxuries of the monarchy into the treasured heritage of the nation. After the Louvre, every nation aspiring to be respected sought to represent itself through a national museum. So now we will see some of the examples with the population of the country too. Thus, museums become part of a nation's struggle to understand, shape, and promote itself. In general, the museum was only one of the institutions that the modern state saw as important for the civilizing process of its body of citizens. The idea was that by looking at good and virtuous art, the citizens would also become virtuous and good. What a new idea. From the point forward, the museum would be an institution able to shape the value system of the public. What is more, state art museums would become proof of a state's political virtue and or superiority. So this new trend we can see from here, from 1793, the Louvre, Paris, France, is one of the largest museums of the world, former royal palace and historic monument, and it has almost 38,000 items from all periods of history. Sorry, it's not 38,000, it's more than 380,000 items from all periods of history, and is the most visited museum in the world with 8 million visitors a year. And actually, the collection is more than that. This is only one part of the building. Actually, it's a really wonderful collection. This is the selfie point. And here inside the museum, we can see this wonderful collection, the Royal Palace. And then the museums built and set up in 19th century in many ways diverged from their 18th century preceders. 18th century collections often belonged to private persons or societies and were often kept in private homes. By contrast, 19th century collections were housed in new purpose-built buildings that belong to the public realm. The transition of the museum from the private to the public sphere entailed a change in presentation. In most 18th century collections, objects were kept in drawers and were only taken out for study. In the 19th century museums, the objects were instead displayed in glass cases or hung on walls in order to facilitate their inspection by larger groups of people. This transition from storehouse to exhibition space is illustrated by the developments of the displays in the Taylor Museum in Haarlem, the Netherlands, as we saw just before. In the past decade, the 19th century has been discovered as the century of the spectacle. In particular, film historians like Annie Fredberg, Vanessa, Leo Charney, and others have traced back the roots of our contemporary media-saturated culture to the visual media of the 19th century. Besides pointing out the spectacular character of the 19th century, these scholars have furthered attention for the popular mass media of that period. क्योंकि अभी मीडिया की शुरुआत हो चुकी थी, प्रिंट मीडिया, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया, विजुअल मीडिया like that, such as the panorama and diorama, world's fairs, wax museum, posters, illustrated newspapers, like that. These studies hardly touch upon public museums. Probably because as educational institutions for the promotion of knowledge and civilization, they are considered to be outside the realm of popular entertainment like that. Conversely, museum historians usually do not study the museum in relation to the popular visual media of the 19th century. Nowadays, we can say in 21st century, it's up to only around 5 to 10%. Till today, it's not completely well. Most museum histories focus either on single museums or on separate types of museums, art galleries in particular. In my view, the discourse on visual culture can contribute to the understanding of museum presentation and its historical development. Like as just before some days, we all of us may know about the Mohenjo-daro, the film Mohenjo-daro, and that work by helped by Dr. Vasant Shinde or Deccan College, Pune, and the museum like that. So I argue that the 19th century museum should be understood as part of a new visualism in which the arrangement and display of objects functioned as a novel way of acquiring and disseminating this knowledge. Large public museums were taking over Europe. Things were different on the other side of the Atlantic. अभी यहाँ एक नई नई दुनिया हम देखेंगे म्यूजियम की. We can see hidden story of the museums. Museums in America were not publicly owned up to now, except for the Smithsonian founded in 1846. What's there? Instead, they rose out of initiatives of private citizens who created groups to amass collections and founding museums. Especially in the 19th century, a new class of wealthy individuals spends lavish amount to acquire pieces of art and other objects to establish their social status and increase their influence. Now here, a worst phase of museums we can see afterwards. Why? Because of this new trend setting by some peoples or by some groups, this we can say this theft of the antiquities. संग्रहालय से वस्तुओं की चोरी होना या हिस्टोरिकल प्लेसेस से मॉन्यूमेंट से एंटिक्विटीज की चोरी होना जो है, इसकी शुरुआत इसकी वजह से हम यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं. During the 1817 and 1880s, and on a mass level, not only on the personal level, very sorry to say, by कई राजाओं ने, कई राजसत्ताओं ने जब भी मौका मिला सिर्फ चोरी करने की, लूटने का प्रयास किया इन इंडिया एंड इन अब्रॉड नेशंस आल्सो. और कई सारे देशों से जो है कई अलग अलग नाम दिए गए. कुछ जैसे कहते हैं ना, सोने का मुलामा देकर उसके पीछे से चोरी किया आ जाना, यानी कुछ फेस अलग ही दिखता है और उसके पीछे जो हो रहा था वो गलत हो रहा था. एंड टिल टुडे आज भी हो रहा है, क्योंकि ये लॉबी बहुत स्ट्रांग है. During the 1870s and 1880s, a series of museums rose as non-profit, non-governmental institutions. This is notable examples include the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the Art Institute of Chicago, and Detroit Institute of Arts. These are only the few examples. They want to establish the museums really on these principles. Non-profit, non-governmental institutions, and particularly they want to use their collections for the educational purpose. But besides of that, there's another phase of the museums is also there. Now we'll see some of the educational related such excellent museums. The Museum of Fine Arts, which often abbreviated as the MFA Boston, and in Boston, Massachusetts, is the 14th largest art museum in the world, which measured by public gallery area. It contains more than 450,000 works of art, making it one of the most comprehensive collections in the Americas. It is home around 8,161 paintings, surpassed among American museums only by the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. Founded in 1870, in this Kapliskar, the museum moved to its current Fenway location in 1909. The museum is affiliated with the School of Museum of Fine Arts. Just I want to note one thing here. This maybe this is the first museum which affiliated with the university or the university education like that. And again, request to all the scholars, those who are here, if you are in the profession of this education profession, if you are a teacher or a lecturer or a professor, anything, or you are a museum employee, then please connect our museums with the Education Institute. This is the humble request, because it will be too useful for the new generations. And here you can see the inside view of that museum. It's a really wonderful collection. Then the Metropolitan Museum of Art of New York City, which is called as the Met, is the largest art museum in the United States. Its permanent collection contains over 2 million works divided among 17 curatorial departments. The Metropolitan Museum of Art, which was founded in 1870 to bring art and art education to the American people. So because of such type of the museums, the newest, or we can say the ultra modern version of these curatorial departments. See here, the 17 curatorial departments are there. So MoMA, maybe you know about that, Museum of Modern America, or the Museum of Modern Art. and they have also their wonderful curatorial departments, particularly digital works there. Here in this museum we can see such type of the collections. Now this is what just I want to say, another face of the museum. The Art Institute of Chicago, Grant Park, founded in 1879, is one of the oldest and largest art museums in the United States, recognized for its curatorial efforts and popularity among visitors. The museum hosts approximately 1.5 million people annually. Its collection, stewarded by 11 curatorial departments, is encyclopedic. So here now the word used as the encyclopedic museum, and Smithsonian Institution Museum is also encyclopedic museum, and includes iconic works such as this George and another artisans, and more than 30 special exhibitions mounted yearly that illuminate aspects of the collection and present cutting edge curatorial and scientific research. So if you have experience टेम्पररी एग्जीबिशंस लाइक दैट, अगर आप लोगों को अनुभव अगर होगा एक टेम्पररी एग्जीबिशन इन स्मॉल स्केल और इन लार्जर स्केल, so it's also really difficult. In small scale it's not difficult, but on the larger scale it's too difficult. But here this museum have the specialty, special 30 special exhibitions mounted yearly like that. So it's a really wonderful thing. And then as a research institution, the Art Institute also has conservation and conservation science department, 5 conservation laboratories, and one of the largest art history and architecture libraries in the country, the Ryerson and this Burnham libraries. It's a really wonderful collection regarding the museum. We can see the same thing in our National Museum in Delhi too, the Research Institute of National Museum. Then Art Institute of here the old building of that museum, and here the new one, the modern one gallery there inside the museum. And here this is the library of that museum. It's a really wonderful collection there. Then the Tokyo National Museum is the oldest national museum in Japan. It considers its origin to have been this exhibition, a public exhibition of imperial artwork and scientific specimens held by the Ministry of Education Museum Department. This is, again, note that a public exhibition of imperial artwork and scientific specimens held by Ministry of Education's Museum Department. And this is from 10th March to 13th April 1872, during the 5th year of this Meiji era. Now, this again new trend set here, museums by the government and particularly by the education department. Then the Detroit Institute of Arts in 1885, which was established in 1885, located in Midtown Detroit of Michigan, has one of the largest and most significant art collection. And the important thing is that is regarded as among the top 6 museums in the United States with an encyclopedic collection. So please notate this thing, encyclopedic collection. What is the encyclopedic collection? And this is the question for all the scholars here. How many such encyclopedic museums are there in India? Please make a question mark and send me the answer if you have, or if you will study about that. And here another important thing for these lectures in this museum, an art reference library and a conservation service laboratory too. And it started around in 19th century. So it's a wonderful thing. Here we can see the building of the museum, and inside here this is not the museum, so we can see the, it's not a display area, but this is public hall program. Actually here a different type of program they organized every year. Then the Barnetts of this Tonby Hall, London, which established in 1892. Here in this museum, just I want to say one interesting thing. In 1893, Miss Cate Hall, she became the first woman employed as curator in England. So please note again here, as we saw the last time, the director of a museum, like that here, the first museum curator in England. And the museum's opening hours were extended up to 10 p.m. This is also interesting thing. The museum opening hours were extended to 10 p.m. so that locals could visit outside of their working hours. It's a really interesting thing again. During World War II, the museum closed and never reopened. So, but these few things are here which are most important for me. So I noted here that. And here you can see this woman, Kate Hall, who was the first museum curator. And here that building, actually now only some portion of that building we can see here, but till today there is a board here, the board of that museum, and now it's completely closed. But that collection transferred to other locations, to other museums. They send it to 2 3 museums. Now in India, what the British collected in India to begin with came largely from their own explorations, excavations, and from donations. They need to house these objects began with placing them in the Asiatic Society premises in Calcutta and conjoining them to Indology. But the objects outgrew the space. It was then thought to house them in the Indian Museum, which established in 1814. This was about half a century after the British Museum was founded. The awareness of the museum as essential to both heritage and history was familiar to Europe and India. Indian Museum Kolkata was founded by the Asiatic Society of Bengal in Kolkata, in India in 1814, which is the oldest and largest museum of India. But for me, very sorry for to say, is it only a museum or what there beside of that? और क्या था उसको भी हमको सोचना है. Then the corporate or civic bodies are also a significant source of patronage to give birth to many museums in India, such as Victoria and Albert Museum, which called as nowadays as the Bhaudaji Lad Museum. Prince of Wales Museum, now the name is Chhatrapati Shivaji Museum. Victoria Memorial Hall, Calcutta, Allahabad Museum. Originally, the Victoria and Albert Museum was opened to public as a treasure house of the decorative and industrial arts in 1872. And Government Museum, Mathura. Then Archaeological Survey of India. This society was we can see the government body was established in year 1862 and has played an important role in the museum movement of India. Sir John Marshall, the Director General of Archaeological Survey of India, adopted a policy of setting up a chain of archaeological sites museum. Now, please note this thing: archaeological site museums. So nowadays, till today, this such type of the site museums are there. The maximum numbers of the site museums, archaeological site museums, are there by ASI in or around the excavated sites. Like we can say the cluster museum. If you visit the Fanigiri, Nelkondapalli, and then this Nagarjun Konda in Telangana side, then nowadays we are trying to establish a museum there in Nagarjun Konda. It gave birth to many local museums in India. The Victoria Memorial is a large marble building in Kolkata, West Bengal, which was built between 1906 to 1921, and it is dedicated to memory of Queen Victoria and is now a museum and tourist destination under the Ministry of Culture. Here we can see this Indian Museum Kolkata and has a rich collection around 1,02,646 artifacts. And nowadays, this modernization of this museum or renovation of this museum, restoration of this museum building is now over, and now it's look too good. Government Museum Chennai, which is also oldest museum of India, is a rich collection. Fort St. George Gazetteer dated 29th April 1851 contained the first announcement regarding the opening of the Madras Government Museum. And then you can see this is also just before few months this renovation work completed there. And Napier Museum, Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala, established in 1855. This is also a wonderful museum, and you can see the building of the Kerala monument style. And Dr. Bhaudaji Lad Museum, Mumbai, which opened to the public in 1857, and before it was known as Victoria and Albert Museum, Bombay. The inside view of the museum, and nowadays. Mehta Madam, she is working excellent. She has done excellent work here in this museum. National Museum of Antiquities and Islamic Art, Algeria. Now here I want to note few things. It's opened in 1835 and later it was renewed many times. But just I want to say this museum, actually see the Algeria is a small country, but till then they want to establish a museum. Why? Because they want to establish their nationalism. In March 2019, actually, this museum looted by the criminals in 2019-20 by Algerian protests and others. But till then, stolen many times, many antiquities stolen from here. Then the Natural History Museum, Vienna, Austria. It is one of the most important natural history museums worldwide, which has 39 exhibition rooms over 8,460 square meters and more than 1 lakh objects. It home to 13 million objects available to more than 60 scientists. But here, the most important thing, this is not only the wide range topics, human sciences, earth sciences, and life sciences. This is the Argentina National Historic Museum of opened on 1889. Again, here this exhibiting objects relating to May Revolution and Argentinian War of Independence. So here the idea establishing the nationalism. Here you can see the collection. And on 9 September 1919, the National Assembly of Armenia founded the History Museum of Armenia. Here again, just I want to say, what is the population of this country? Only 3 million, around 30 lakh only. But till then, they have their own national museum. Here you can see some of the beautiful these art pieces, the paintings inside the museum. And why such a type of the museums are there? Who actually it's directed by some bodies, and you can see there some of the collections जो संग्रहालय में आए, मगर कुछ बाहरी ताकतों की वजह से संग्रहालय में जो चीजें आई वो संग्रहालय से कई बार गायब हुई और उसमें जो है डुप्लीकेट ऑब्जेक्ट्स को रखा गया. ये भी इतिहास हम देखते हैं. This is the National Museum of Cambodia. This is also a wonderful collection. And across present-day Cambodia to southern Vietnam, they exhibited this particularly about the Khmer Empire. Then the National Museum of Afghanistan. Now we can think about this. This was established in 1922, and this collection actually it was also looted, but then again they collected. Then they try to exhibit. But what the situation today, we can't say about that things. But here is a wonderful collection regarding this Gandhara and Kushana art. This is one of the masterpiece in this collection. Here this Ratha chariot with the lions, and this is the earth god. It's mentioned there. ये धरती की देवता जो है उसको दिखाया गया है, सॉरी नेचर गॉड, निसर्ग देवता को दिखाया गया है, ऐसा बताया गया है. Then the National Museum of Fine Arts of Algeria is a museum located in Algeria. On 14th May 1962, over 300 works of art were brought to Louvre in Paris from the museum. अभी इस म्यूजियम का भी हिस्ट्री अगर आप देखेंगे तो ये संग्रहालय भी जो है वो कई बार लूटा गया है, इसमें भी कई बार चोरी हुई है. सो इस संग्रहालय से 300 चीजें जो है वो आर्टिफैक्ट जो है वो लूव म्यूजियम पेरिस का वहां पर रखे हुए हैं. Then this Barbados Museum and Historical Society, which was established in 1933, it has more than 5 lakh artifacts. What is 0 billion? मुझे सिर्फ ये कहना है कि इतना छोटा सा संग्रहालय होकर भी इतने सारे मास्टरपीसेस यहाँ पर है, मगर इन मास्टरपीसेस की हिस्ट्री एक्चुअली मैं उसमें ज्यादा ये नहीं करना चाहूंगा. अगर आप इसको पढ़ाई करेंगे, अध्ययन करेंगे, तो इसके पीछे का मकसद क्या है इन संग्रहालयों के स्थापन करने का, ये सिर्फ नेशनलिज्म को ही वहां तक सीमित नहीं रखता है, बट बाहर की शक्तियों ने, यानी बाहर के दूसरे देशों ने, लाइक द फ्रांस एंड सम अदर कंट्रीज लाइक द इंग्लैंड और सिंगापुर, उन्होंने हेल्प किया है वहां पर संग्रहालय बनाने के लिए. और उसके पीछे का मकसद भी क्या है उसके बारे में भी कभी पढ़े. इट्स रियली अनदर इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग. So this is the National Art Museum of Republic of Belarus, which was established in 1939, and here उनका नेशनल आर्ट गैलरी जो है उसको यहाँ पर दिखाया है. Then the National Museum of Pakistan, which was established in Ferrari Hall in 17th April 1950, and tribute to Sir Ferrari, Commissioner of Sindh during 19th century. The museum was shifted to present premises in 1970. And then you can see outside there are the excellent masterpieces of this Kushana art. Then the Belarusian National History and Culture Museum. This is museum in Belarus, and this museum, which was actually have a collection of 370,000 artifacts, is a museum of local lore, history, and economy. Another important thing, museum is not only for the national level; it's for the local too. जिसको हम स्थानिक संग्रहालय ऐसा शब्द प्रयोग करेंगे, लोकल म्यूजियम्स. So here we can see this is the first museum regarding that. And then the National Museum of Australia. Actually, this museum, which have a great collection, but here the important thing of this museum is a wide range of books, catalogs, and journals published by this museum. The museum research center takes a cross-disciplinary approach to history, ensuring the museum is a lively forum for ideas and debate about Austria's past, present, and future. This is an interesting thing. The museum's innovative use of new technologies has been central to its growing international reputation in outreach programming, particularly with the regional communities. So here, the museums now works for the international reputation and outreach programmings for that with the using of new technologies and the wide collection of this research publications. You can see here the new building of this museum and the inside view of this museum, and the left side there is a museum shop, souvenir shop, where we can get the books. Here the National History Museum of Albania. Actually Albania, which are really small country, but till then they have their different galleries like the Middle Ages, Renaissance, Independence, iconography, National Library, this anti-fascist war. Here the section Communist Terror and another gallery of Mother Teresa. So these are the interesting things like that. The Bahrain National Museum is the largest and oldest public museum in Bahrain, and the wonderful building here you can see. This is it is believed to be the region's first modern museum. You can see the inside view of that museum. And then the National Art Gallery of Bahamas. This is the institution of its kind in the history of the Bahamas, announced in 1996 by then Prime Minister. But to see this museum, only two-storied museum, it's a national museum, only have the 4 halls, a staff of 5 people, 1 director and 4 assistants. Actually, this country which have the population only of 4 million, but till then, here we can see this national museum, and these ground floors are for the temporary exhibitions, and this first floor is for the permanent exhibition. Only 2 halls for the permanent exhibition. So it's we can see the smallest national museum. Then throughout the 20th century, museums become more and more diverse. Science museums, natural history museums, art museums, and history museums were established as different museum types, and then they were divided into further subcategories. Museums began abandoning traditional forms of exhibiting art and went after the modern. This modern ideal found expression in museum architecture, interior design, exhibition, planning, and of course art. Especially in the industrial world, museums kept functioning within clear colonial, national, and imperial narratives. A series of movements that followed the end of the Second World War attempted to understand these narratives and eventually replace them. Though these movements did not only attack abstract issues of ideology, but also traced them in the way museums were organized and built. The modern and traditional museum modes of being came under scrutiny in favor of new postmodern ideologies. From the architecture of the building down to the writing of a label, museums attempted to change. By the end of the 20th century, 2 things were apparent. The first was that little real change had occurred, and the second was that more change was needed. Now we can see here some of the beautiful and wonderful such type of the museums. This Metropole Parcel from the Spain, which was established in April 2011. Then the Art Science Museum of this Marina Bay Sands in Singapore, established in February 2011. And then this Osaka Maritime Museum of Japan. Actually, it's designed by architect Paul with engineering design, and the museum was built on reclaimed land in the Bay of Osaka and cost billions. But it's really another beautiful museum. And then Museum of Art of Stuttgart, and this is also it was established in 2014. This is perfectly integrated the surrounding landscapes. The floors follow different slopes to adopt the natural gradient of the terrain. Then this is the multi-layer museum, which was designed in 2015. It's for one Indian museum. Now it will be open in next year. We will take more information about this museum in our next session. Academy Museum of this motion pictures. Actually, in 2019, they want to open this, but because of Corona, it's not possible. But till then, it's a really wonderful museum. Nowadays, it's open for public. The history of museums is not over. The museum of the early 21st century is already different from the museum of the late 20th. The 2020 coronavirus pandemic forced the museum world into the digital age. Museum collections are becoming available online. Meanwhile, museums rediscover the power of social media in an attempt to maintain a relationship with their audience. Virtual tours, online exhibition, digital museums are making their appearance. We can safely assume that the future of museum is digital. Of course, physical museums will not disappear, but they will certainly benefit from immersive 3D and other new technologies. Especially art museums experiment more and more with the digital as artists find inspiration in new media. Overall, the online presence of a museum is slowly but steadily becoming as important as its physical. Furthermore, museums are far beyond their age of innocence. This line is also important. So here these 3D technologies and such type of this QR code scanning system. Then this is interesting, some new interesting things. Now this is in Japan, and such type of different types of the installations, modern installations are there in the museum. We will just not put the kiosk technology here, but we use different mediums for to put that all. And here this is the new one museums, these new techniques of the museum. So the 21st century brought with it renewed enthusiasm. Museum professionals have since become more open to change, and large institutions are slowly recognizing parts of their dark past. Will this history of museums keep moving towards that direction, or will museums revert to their old ways? This is left for the future to tell. Yes, because we can't do anything. This is left for the future to tell. There is only one prediction we can make with absolute certainty: museums will change. Yes. If you want to read more, then please try to read these things. And two more important things. Now, for the history of archives, we'll see in our next session. Just I want to show you two books. Here, one book by Dr. Ganeshan, Sangralay Darpan, and another book by Bharat Ke Vividha Sangralay by same author, Dr. Ganeshan. Dr. Ganeshan. Both books are excellent. So here I'm not focusing on the particular the history of museums in India, but I will share a link with you so that you will get heritage of Indian museums. You can, if you want, you can visit it. Otherwise, I will share another also some more links where you can enjoy such type of the museums there. So thank you. Thanks a lot to all of you. And if you have any questions, then please now you can ask. Very sorry for to take more time. Yes, Sahiti ji, you want? Yes, please.
Yeah, sir. You mentioned so many galleries, but we didn't mention any galleries from Greece, because I think Greece was the oldest place where actually when we say Greek to Roman art, you know, Greek to Roman art, so many artifacts.
Mentioned about the Roman, but not about the Greek. Yes, very true. But as I mentioned in that flow, actually, this when I was made this presentation, it's more than 350 slides.
Yes.
But for to this time limitation, I skip all that and make a smaller version yesterday night only, and I was trying to present it. So I will share another also so that you will enjoy that.
Okay. As in Medici Palace, when we talked about the Uffizi, Lorenzo Uffizi, I think that was one of the first private collections exhibitions. Like
Yes,
the family itself owned so much art.
Yeah, yes, very true.
You know?
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. Any other question? और किसी को कुछ पूछना है? If not, then we'll stop here, and on next Sunday again we will meet. Thank you. Yes, please.
Yes.
Yes, Nancy ji.
Sir, antique museum be considered as museum?
What is the question?
So antiquity and antiquarianism in the 18th or the 19th century can be considered as the starting of the museum, or it is different from the museum.
It's a part of museum.
भुजंग सर
Okay, sir.
Yes, जी.
सर आपने बोला जैसे यूनिवर्सिटीज के स्टूडेंट्स वगैरह हैं उनको कनेक्ट करने के लिए म्यूजियोलॉजी पर कैसे कन्विंस करें सर, यही चीज नहीं समझ आती कई बार।
वेरी सिंपल थिंग, जैसे अगर आप किसी गांव में अगर कोई एग्जीबिशन, अगर कोई चीजें है, कुछ आर्टिफैक्ट्स वगैरह है, अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि आप उसको कलेक्शन को आपकी तरफ साउंड ज्यादा आ रहा है, वेरी सॉरी, मैं म्यूट करता हूँ। जब आप किसी म्यूजियम्स को या किसी यूनिवर्सिटीज को किसी कलेक्शन के साथ जोड़ना चाहते हैं, सी देयर आर द थ्री डिफरेंट पार्ट्स. One is there if there is any collection in a village, if there is any museum, if there is any university. अब इन तीनों को कैसे करेंगे? पहली बात तो यह है कि अगर सिर्फ पर्सनल कलेक्शन है, किसी गांव में कोई कलेक्शन है, तो म्यूजियम के स्टाफ को ये बताइए कि यहाँ पर इस तरह का कलेक्शन है और आप लोग वहां विजिट करें, इसका इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है उसके बारे में नोट डाउन करें. देन अगर म्यूजियोलॉजी वगैरह जैसे कोर्स अगर यूनिवर्सिटीज में है, तो वहां के स्टूडेंट्स को इसके बारे में प्रोजेक्ट्स करने के लिए इनवाइट कर सकते हैं. नॉट ओनली द म्यूजियोलॉजी बट आर्ट एक्सपर्ट जो होते हैं, कलेक्शन किस तरह का है उसके ऊपर ये निर्भर करता है. इफ देयर आर द पेंटिंग्स तो उसके एक्सपर्ट्स आ सकते हैं, आर्टिस्ट आ सकते हैं. इफ देयर आर द फोटोग्राफ्स उसके एक्सपर्ट आ सकते हैं. सो लाइक दैट which type of the collection is there. If there is a museum and if you want to connect the institution with your museum, then make a MOU. एक MOU साइन कर सकते हैं कि आपके संग्रहालय शास्त्र के या आपके इंस्टीट्यूशन के लोग जो है यहाँ पर आकर विजिट करें. अदरवाइज जब लोग हमारे पास ना आए, तो मैंने हमेशा ये टर्म यूज किया है, यू हैव टू गो टुवर्ड्स द सोसाइटी. आप लोगों के पास जाना चाहिए. यू नीड टू गो टुवर्ड्स द पब्लिक. तो आप उस कलेक्शन का एक जैसे टेम्पररी एग्जीबिशन या पोर्टेबल एग्जीबिशन उस तरह का डिजाइन कीजिए और आप ही लोगों के बीच जाइए. भले वो किसी टाउन हॉल में, किसी यूनिवर्सिटी के हॉल में जहां पर प्रोग्राम हो सकते हैं, तो उनके साथ मिलकर के डिस्कस कीजिए उन लोगों के साथ और उसको एग्जिबिट कीजिए. अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि इसमें कुछ दिक्कत है, तो उसके कुछ अच्छे बेस्ट फोटोग्राफ और उसका कुछ अच्छा कंटेंट आप हमारे पास भेजिए. हम उसका एक छोटा सा आपको जैसे एक डिजिटल म्यूजियम होता है, तो वो हम आपको बनाकर दे देंगे. और लाइक अ वीडियो, स्मॉल वीडियो हम आपको बनाकर दे देंगे. आप लोगों को वो भेज सकते हैं, लाइक 1 मिनट, 2 मिनट, 3 मिनट, लाइक दैट. और लोगों को इससे जानकारी मिल सकती है कि अरे अच्छा ऐसा बेस्ट कलेक्शन है और उसके साथ साथ क्या है अपने पास, वो उसमें नोट कीजिए. सो दैट पीपल शुड अट्रैक्ट टुवर्ड्स योर कलेक्शन.
थैंक यू सर.
मोस्ट वेलकम. एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? Okay, thank you. Now we'll stop here and we'll meet again on next Sundays. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Most
Thank you, sir.